found a page that might interest you. More than one, actually. The storyteller carefully takes your find. Yes, you're right. Another piece of evidence from the past I've forgotten. The old elf's expression becomes withdrawn. Thank you. If you find more pages like this, please bring them to me. Maybe by putting them together, I will be able to lift the veil on the mystery surrounding my story. Here's another one. Storyteller carefully takes your find. I will just skip that and not read it again and again. Here's another one. Ah, and something happens. Storyteller clenches the pages you wrote. His voice becomes a bit younger and more energetic. My hand touches the stone wall. The cold pierces my palm like the teeth of a hungry dog sinking into a piece of meat. I don't take my hand away. I let the stone enjoy my warmth in return for its service. It accepts my caress and my unasked question. The one it's been asked thousand upon thousand of times. Where should I go next? Behind me, I hear the loud stomping of the minotaurs that guard this godforsaken place. I tricked and outwitted them, leaving only a trace of my presence. There's darkness lurking up ahead, owning its swords, claws and teeth in the hope that a rare traveler visits its lair. But today, it will get no one. This labyrinth is alive. Its red veined stone walls resemble the guts of a huge creature. If you keep still and listen closely, you can hear its breathing in the wind that sweeps through this place. Where do I go from here? Forward. To the place where the wind carries a faint chuckle. Whence come the faint smell of ash. It's a few ages ago, Demon Lord Baphomet began his great escape. What do you need from the Ivory Labyrinth? An answer to a question, a key to a secret, knowledge that can save many lives. A sliver of a smile appears on the storyteller's lips. My kinfolks were weaklings and cowards. They ran from no danger. One stood up to my enemy, and Baphomet will give me the weapon to win. How exactly were you able to evade all the dangers of the Ivory Labyrinth? The storyteller raises his chin proudly. Have you forgotten who you are speaking to? I am the last Archmage of Kionin. I've been to many dangerous places, and this just one of the many. It won't be the last. Ah, homeland of the elven race. Baphomet, you're inside this labyrinth. Yes, I'm traveling through the Ivory Labyrinth. This is not the most pleasant of my journeys, but it is necessary to reach my goal. Please, continue. For several years, I've thought about how to defeat Earthfall. My enemy has no flesh, and it is impossible to kill. It blazes through everything in its path. It doesn't enslave, but destroys life itself. And I have found the answer. I know how to save my world. Earthfall came to destroy Golarion. Just have a small reminder. It destroyed its land many, many years ago. Thousands of years. Its strike was brutal, and my word barely withstood it. But what if Earthfall was resisted by not one world, but several worlds at once? What if Heaven or Elysium come to help the dying Golarion? If I manage to merge my world with another one, meld them together, the power of the disaster will weaken. The denizens of Golarion will be able to temporarily take shelter in the adjacent plane. Civilizations will not die. Our culture will continue to exist. We will not be forgotten. Baphomet, the cunning and insidious lord of Minotaurs, was once a captive in Asmodeus' prison. But only 10 years passed before Baphomet was able to escape, taking his own prison with him, which later became the Ivory Labyrinth. Such an achievement deserves respect, and is the goal of my research. Moving matter between planes is what interests me now. I stop near strange symbols covering the wall of the labyrinth. I run my hand over them to ensure they are real. Encrypted riddles drawn by Baphomet during his imprisonment. I take out the bark-covered notebook and painstakingly copy the symbols into it. Behind me, 2 minotaurs are fighting, deceived by the net of spells I've wrapped around myself as a blanket. Interesting. Then he seems to be... I don't know if he still is, but at least he was quite the powerful mage. And also insanely powerful. Do you want to connect the planes? That's dangerous. Sounds a bit like what Aurelio Vorlich did. The other's silent for a moment. When he talks, there's this dangerous voice. Dangerous, difficult, Almost impossible, but tell me, is this risk not worth the Thessalian Empire perishing before my eyes? Does Gorgan, the Cyclops kingdom, deserve death? What about the Aboleth Empire? The storyteller moves his lips silently. Another plane will pay for saving Golarion. There will be wars, and then a new world will come. But we will survive. We will defeat Earthfall, and history will not condemn the victors. Thessalian Empire. The ancient empire of Thessalian existed in the waning years of the Age of Legend, and occupied parts of what today are the nations of Varisia, the Hold of Belkzen, and the lands of the Lindorm kings. While its power was great, struggles for control within the nation were near constant, and it was finally destroyed by the devastation of Earthfall. All that now remains are mysterious ruins scattered throughout its former territories. A bark-covered notebook, the one your mentor gave you. The storyteller lowers his head, but a moment later jerks it back up. Yes, lying by my pride, I tore it to pieces when I thought I would not follow my kinfolk. I'm still not going to run. The knowledge written in this notebook by my former mentor might serve my purpose. The elves managed to open a portal to Soverian and keep it open until all our people escape from Golarion. Their cowardice deserves disdain, but their knowledge is unquestionable. I returned to Kyonin and gathered the pieces of my torn notebook. Now, it is my sword aimed at the heart of Earthfall. By combining the wisdom of elves and the cunning of Baphomet, I will save the world. What happened next? I copied the strange symbols into the notebook. I haven't the slightest idea what these scribbles mean. What was the future demon lord thinking when he wrote them, while he was imprisoned in a cell with no way out? Was he still in his right mind? I will need help to understand these notes, otherwise decrypting them might take more time than Pharasma has given me. One of the minotaurs behind me killed the other one, tore his heart out and devoured it. His bloodstained nose sniffs the air sharply. His bloodshot eyes shift from wall to wall. He senses a stranger, but he doesn't scare me. I'm certain of my powers and the spells hiding me. I've done my work and can now leave this place. And still, I linger. What is this strange presence I feel behind me? Like someone is watching me, despite all the protective spells. Who are you? I ask carefully, not hoping for an answer. Darkness. A coy female voice whispers in my ear against my will. I shudder. The storyteller stops talking for a while. The vision ended at the most interesting moment, didn't it? He says bitterly at last. Please, find the rest of the pages from this bark-covered book. I must know what happened next. Let's give him more pages. Well, that's it, so we need more for the next sequence. So,
let's see what we can do.
I think we have lots of things we can walk around and have a look at. As far as I know, we didn't talk with Aru so far, so let's have a talk with her. See what she's willing to tell us. So much reading. It's always insane how much more I just do different voices and amount of just reading things and trying to voice act them somehow. I can feel it in my voice in my throat. Shouldn't do too long today. But it's already been like almost 4 hours. Aru. Arushalae's ruby eyes stare watchfully at passers-by, who don't notice her even at arm's length. She turns to you, her face a mixture of contemplation, sadness, and admiration. They are amazing, aren't they? I want to say something about that. We are being attacked by demons with unusual powers. Do you know anything about them? Arushalae thinks for a long while. Finally she answers hesitantly. Back in Lushinera, there were rumors about terrible experiments that Baphomet and Deskari performed on their troops to make them more stronger. Here on the material plane, these rumors were embellished with lots of details. Some say the demons undergo rituals acquired from Zon Kutor. Others say they feed on the blood of angels or Quiplov or demon lords. Still others say there are no experiments and Baphomet is just bringing back fighters from the future. A future in which the demons have already taken all of Golarion. Is there a grain of truth in any of these ramblings? There's no way to know. Naturally, none of these rumors give any indication of where the demons come from. I'm sorry I can't help. The only thing that is clear is that the lowly fighters in the army of the Abyss are puzzled by this as we are. What exactly are you doing here? Watching people? I'm watching. She nods at the city dwellers as they hurry past. I'm listening to their conversations, studying their faces. I'm trying to understand what they truly are. Why exactly do you like to watch people? You know, in my old life, I thought I knew everything about them. I was a master of seduction after all. I knew how to tempt a mortal into doing anything I required. I could trap them in a lie myself and never get caught. It's disgusting to remember, but that was my life for many centuries. Now I see, I know nothing. A demon warrior probably also considers himself an expert on mortals because he's killed so many of them. He certainly knows where to thrust the spear for a quick death, where to thrust it for a long, painful one. And he thinks that's enough. My knowledge, it was kind of the same. I ruined many mortals without learning the first thing about them. Now, I watch them to understand them. This won't give victims back their lives, of course, but still, by growing closer to the mortals, it's like I'm paying back some part of my debt to my victims' memories. So, have you learned anything new about mortals? They love cats? Arushalae speaks in a very serious matter, as if sharing an important scientific discovery with you, but then a moment later, she smiles to give the joke away. Aww. Seriously though, have your observations of humans led to anything? I wouldn't want to draw any rash conclusions. I've only been watching them for a short while now. But I think I've understood one thing. Succubus have a saying. Mortals always lie. If a mortal isn't talking, that means she's busy lying to herself. Oh, we saw that in one of the loading screens. But now I see this isn't true. Your mortals aren't liars. You're dreamers. Each of you creates a huge daydream for yourself. And everyone you share your life with. It isn't exactly a lie, because the daydream is your truth. Oh, that's a very beautiful way to look at that. I see. Thank you. Of course, but forgive me if I don't have any answers. Maybe, can you tell me something more about yourself? I'm afraid I won't like what I'm going to tell. I'm afraid you won't like what I'm going to tell you. So, where exactly do succubi come from? Do you have, like, a childhood? No. Well, yes, but in brief, the Abyss is nothing like the mortal world. Arushalae makes a gesture in the air, trying to find the right word. You remember life since conception. No, wait, you don't remember that part, do you? But certainly, you know everything since birth. We do not. Normally, when a human dies, the Lady of Graves decides which plane they go to. Most often, those who arrive in the Abyss turn into larvae. You know, the little worms no one notices until you step on them. They crawl in the mud for centuries, devouring each other. The strongest one turn into demons. And a very interesting concept. I don't know how that transformation happens. Maybe we hatch out of them like caterpillars out of butterflies. No wait, it's the other way around. Or maybe greater demons sculpt us out of them like so much clay. I don't know what happens to the larvae. They used to make me. In my own memory, it begins with vague, fragmentary images. Terrors, executions, orgies. I remember some poor lad, half gnawed by the larvae. He was crying and begging to be killed. And I pointed at him, laughed and said I wouldn't. Desna, forgive me. I'm so ashamed. How exactly did you turn up? Oh, we know how she ended up turning up the Abyss, so let's just skip that. That's the things she told us in the beginning. You know, Desna calls out the best in people. If she gave you a chance, it means that there is some good deep inside you. She saw that you were not beyond salvation. I find that hard to believe. I remember what I was back then. It shames me to remember it. It frightens me to remember it. But the goddess is wise, isn't she? Wise and insightful. Among all the filth, garbage, sharp spikes and broken bones, amidst that nightmare there was my soul. Or whatever demons have instead of a soul. She found a grain of goodness that, by some miracle, had gotten lost there. A treasure inside me that I had no idea even existed. The demon presses her palm against her heart. It's still there. I can feel it. I must preserve it. Preserve it and cleanse myself of all the remaining filth. That won't be easy, but I can do it. After all, the goddess will help me, and you will too. She's so cute and wholesome. I think she's an amazing character. So, you don't really know who you are. What of you? Do you know who you are? Are there many mortals who can make that claim? Before returning me to the mortal realm, Desna whispered something to me. I can still hear her words. She asked me, "And what do you dream of?" And I don't know. I still don't. You see, demons are symbol creatures. Arushalae purses her lips. Each is guided by 2 or 3 strong sins. Before my conversion, my sins were all I was. A ball of desire without anyone behind them doing the desiring. Desires for sex, for flattery, for food. Now I have me, and it's amazing, but it's so complicated. Arushalae makes an apologetic gesture and smiles. What exactly did you do after Desna converted you? I traveled. In the beginning, I thought it wise to keep away from demons and their temptations, run off to Absalom, or perhaps even further to another plane. Then I realized that I didn't deserve freedom yet. The abyss was still in me. It called me, tempting me, seducing me. If I ran away, I would soon return to my old habits. Arushalae forces the word from her mouth. That is why I came here, to join the war. To remember who my enemy is, to defeat the demons. Not just for the mortal world, but for myself as well. Because if I don't kill my past, it will always be reaching for me. I am a wonderful liar. I'm no longer proud of it, but it's still true. The demons never suspected my treason until the very end. I lived as a spy, and I regularly reported back to the priest of Desna whatever I learned. Naturally, I concealed my identity from them as well. I would never have been caught, but when I learned that Deskari was planning an attack on Kenabres, there was no time for caution. I risked everything to warn you, and paid with my freedom. Thank you for not running from evil but confronting it. I think that's quite brave. Yes, I'm glad I did it, but you know, it's hard. Evil calls me back every day. And when it's so close, what if one day I grow tired of fighting? So that means you're worshipping Desna now, right? The goddess did a lot for me, more than I ever deserved. Asking anything more of her would be impudent. I'm grateful to her, but I try not to trouble her with my prayers. Thanks for your answers. I hope they didn't upset you too much. At least, not as much as they upset me. I don't think so. You know, I know that's a hard question to ask, but may I ask you a personal question, like the kind of question a mortal might ask a succubus? Oh, you want to talk about sex? Arushalae looks you in the eye. Ask me anything. I'll not keep secrets from you. Don't expect to hear anything light-hearted or pleasant. So the kiss of Succubus is deadly, isn't it? Not just the kiss. Any caress of any kind suck the life from mortals. There's nothing I can do about it. Arushalae touches her lips ever so slightly. For mortals, tenderness is tenderness and violence is violence. But I don't know what it's like to kiss and not inflict pain. I just hope my observations of mortals will help me understand. Young lovers, old spouses. Even what mortals condemn as promiscuity, to me, it all looks like something amazingly human. Interesting. Very cool you can actually ask so much about her demonic and especially succubus nature. It's really cool. You know, looking at you, a drop of vital energy is a small price to pay for your kiss. Don't joke like that. For me, it's not a joke at all. Ouch. Yeah, maybe you could have expected that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Never mind, just try not to tempt me. You know, it's hard for me to control myself. Oh. From what you just said, you mean you just don't watch people just during the day out on the street? Well, I never touch anyone, I never harm anyone, I just watch and listen. Is that bad? Oh gosh, I wonder what kind of situations she watches. Yeah, even being chaotic. Let's take the lawful one. Or the last one. Let's take the last one. Let's just say they wouldn't be happy if they found out you were watching. Don't worry, they never find out. Don't forget, I'm a very good spy. Maybe not what I meant. So, what exactly is it like between demons? Everything demons do is sort of cannibalism. Each devours mortals and other demons in their own way. Some enjoy literally tearing off pieces of flesh with their teeth. Others like to subdue and turn their prey into slaves and living tools. Some feed on other humiliation. It comes in different forms, but the essence is always the same. Another being is an object to be used for your own pleasure. Demon sex doesn't differ from any other type of violence. In my former life, it was something I did to others, or others did to me. Only one person ever received pleasure, not the other. So, do you still feel desire? Arushalae keeps a long silence. She searches for the right words. You see, on the one hand, my succubus nature remains with me. I feel the desire. I fear it's the one from my old life. When I look at any mortal, I immediately imagine how... She looks away. But that feeling, that desire, it's not what mortals feel. When you like someone, you don't ponder how good it would feel to drink their soul, do you? You think about how good it would feel to be together. Together, you see? You know how you to want someone and at the same time not want to destroy them. For me, it's always one and the same. I think that might be a good characterization of how succubi work. Or incubi, I guess, as well. True despair rings in Arushalae's voice. I'm not even talking about love, just the common mutual affection of mortals, and they're not poisoned with violence. Now I know that I've never felt it. It's hard to imagine how it's even possible. You know, love is a wonderful feeling, and I'm sure you will be able to experience it someday. I hope so. It's just... She brings her hand to her chest. You don't deserve it. Who would just dare love a predator from the abyss who, by her very nature, is unable to return the feelings? Let's not flirt with everyone, even though it's very tempting. And if I would go for a female romance, I'm quite sure it would be her. She's very cute. Do not lose hope. One day you will find someone to teach you how to feel. Thank you. It's hard for me to imagine right now, but I can still hope. Thank you for being so open. Arushalae nods without saying a word. Is there anything you can tell me about the life in the Abyss? I can't tell you about all of the Abyss. I've only seen a small part. If you like, I can tell you about the Midnight Isle and Luncinera. Sure, let's begin with the Midnight Isles, I guess. The ocean of Ishar, not far from the mouth of the river Styx, is a chain of islands. This is the realm of Nocticula, the queen of the succubi. There's no sun there, only a moonlit night, alternating with a moonless one. Each of the islands is one of Nocticula's trophies, the remains of a powerful entity that perished at her hands. As you see, you cannot take a step in the abyss without treading on corpses. So, what exactly is Luncinera like? The porphyry city is Nocticula's capital. There's no city like it in the mortal world. Absalom is a village in comparison to millions. I don't exaggerate. Millions of demons and mortals live there. Some come voluntarily, not only from Golarion, but from other planes as well. Nocticula keeps an open boundary, It enjoys having many guests, merchants and travelers in the city. Some arrive in chains. Slave trade is the most thriving business in the city. From afar, the city may seem a merry place. Many of its dwellers do enjoy themselves, until it's their turn to become someone else's toy. It's a city of suffering, Logan Aldori, of cheerful, festive torments that everyone in the city inflicts on those around them. Are there any places of interest? The heart of the business quarter is the flesh market, where the slave trade takes place. I grew up in the mansion of Lady Valexia. Her house is always full of guests doing their best to entertain her. Those whose performance is not to her liking risk remaining at her house forever. The main attraction of the Succubi city is, of course, the brothels, the 10,000 delights. I need not to tell you what they offer. If you can imagine it, someone is selling that. Not far from there you can find the Harem of Ardent Dreams, which serves as a sort of city hall. Shamira, Nocticula's right hand and major of Illusionera, receives her visitors here. For those who prefer bloodier sport, there are many arenas in the city. The famous of them is the Battle Bliss. Battles run continuously, without breaks and without rules. It doesn't matter what trickery you use to win, it only matters how much fun the crowd is having. I have to say, at this point, it's so amazing how much attention to detail and stories and everything they put into the characters, how much you can talk with them about, how much depth and history and backstory it gives. It's awesome. I really like that. And above it all towers the House of Silken Shadows, Nocticula's palace. Hundreds, thousands of towers and domes, adorned with jewels. They are legends of what happens inside. Many have striven to experience the delights of the Succubi Queen's palace, forgetting that it was built for her pleasure, not theirs. That Nocticula sounds like quite the interesting entity. Who is she? She's called the Lady in Shadow. They say that she was the first succubus. She's far from the most powerful of the demon lords, but this hasn't kept her from being the ruin of many creatures significantly more powerful than herself, even building her kingdom upon their bones. They say that, like Lameshtu, she strives to turn herself from a demon lord into a true goddess. She enjoys killing, but her favorite tools are seduction and deception. She only stoops to crude violence when there are no other games to play, and even then she backstabs from the shadows. Her favorite weapon is a crossbow, though a silk garrote would suit her better. If you should ever meet her, do not believe a word she says, and do not fall for her provocations. Do not try to beat her at her own game. And most importantly, remember, the worst mistake anyone can make is to underestimate her. What exactly do you think of the powers I gave you? It's a great temptation. I don't know if I should be trusted with such power. I certainly wouldn't trust myself. When you have so much power, it's easy to decide you are a god, and the mortals are your toys. Perhaps I should wait until after we defeat the forces of the Abyss. But that's precisely what these powers are for. She thinks for a moment, then speaks softly. You take a great risk. I'm not sure I can handle the temptation. It's hard enough as it is. I will be watching you. Ah, she's really cute. I hope we can give her a bit more confidence. But I really love her as a character. Okay. I think the next thing we can or should do... Companion quest. Is a companion quest. I think going back to Neathall might be a cool one. Go, Logan, go! Do-do. And once again, who do we take with us? I'm sorry, Greyball, we'll take Lann.